In 2025, we might see the beginning of the downfall of Salesforce. And I'm going to tell you what you can do to win in 2025 despite all the problems, all the AI stuff, everything, despite all the market that goes down. And I can tell you what I'm doing for 2025 to win. So who am I? I'm Igor. I've been working in coding for I think like around 7 years, and I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for the 5 years. And this time I taught to thousands of people through my courses, Apex and Salesforce development. I worked with some of the best people, with the Golden Hoodie recipient, with the senior architects, and taught them how to code. And I built a multiple six-figure business on this. And I also worked and delivered over 1 million in project value as a Salesforce developer. So I've been in the ecosystem for quite a while. And I want to talk about what I think, what's going to happen, and what I'm doing and what I'm suggesting to my students and to everyone around me in the Salesforce ecosystem. Again, this is just my opinion. This is just what I see, and I hope you like it. So what I mean when I say that Salesforce might go down, by this I mean that Salesforce is not going to disappear. It's not going to be like one day, bam, and Salesforce is not there. No, it's not going to be like this, unless something crazy happens, but this event is very, very unlikely. But what probably is going to happen is the continuation of what we see already. And what we see now is that the market competition for most roles, even the coding related roles, they kind of started to grow a lot, right? So when I joined Salesforce 5 years ago, if you just had a couple of certifications and if you heard about Salesforce, you can just walk in and demand like 70K, 80K salary, right? Right now you can't. Right now, a lot of people who have like 5 certifications and they want to break into like, for example, junior Salesforce admin role or a consultant role, they can't because, well, there's a lot of people who already have experience and are also a lot of certified. So a lot of people can see that something happened, something very, very crazy happened with the Salesforce ecosystem where the demands for the jobs got way higher. And even the same happened to the jobs themselves, right? Because imagine what was the job of a Salesforce admin 5 years ago when I started, right? So Salesforce admins were pretty much people who were doing like process builders, workflows, a little bit of flows back then, and all the other automations, profiles, and all of this. And right now, what we see is that a Salesforce admin is someone who is expected to be pretty damn good at flows, right? And when someone is good at flows, well, you cannot really say that this person is not technical, right? So the person who is good at flows, they're definitely developers. They're just declarative developers. They don't write code, but they do automation in different ways. And Flow is pretty much a programming language. It's a visual programming language. So we can see that that the demands on the job themselves, they're getting way higher for the people. And the competition also gets higher. The certification inflation is crazy, right? Right now is the minimum to have like 3-5 certifications, which is insane because it takes a lot of time and you're supposed to study for them a lot, right? So you can see that this process has already begun. The market is slowing down. The market is from the standpoint of the people who are working in those markets, it's not as profitable, it's not as inviting, and you cannot go and make a crazy amount of money without actually being really good at something. So this is one part of it. Another big part why I think that Salesforce can begin decline, and when I say decline, I don't mean revenue-wise, right? So for revenue, Salesforce can go on for a very long time, but it doesn't mean that for you particular person listening to this video, right? You are maybe a Salesforce admin, consultant, architect, or maybe a developer. For you, it doesn't matter. Like, what does it for me matter how much billions Salesforce make? I don't care. I care how much I make. I care how much money I can demand for my skills. And this is what I'm trying to maximize, not the revenue for Salesforce. So when I say that Salesforce might decline, I don't mean revenue. But what I mean is the market for you personally, right? And this is a big deal. If Salesforce makes billions, but for you, it's hard to be in the ecosystem. It's hard to find jobs because there are a lot of people from overseas or somewhere else sitting, right, who can demand lower salaries. There's a big competition for just one role. Well, you don't care how much Salesforce is gonna earn, and I also don't care, right? So what I care about is how healthy is the market for the candidate, how it is for us, for simple people, so to say. And I can say this: it's not great. It's not great. We know it. We know it. The one of the things that really concerns me is that Salesforce stopped innovating for a very long time. It sounds very controversial because you hear a lot of AI, Agent Force, Data Cloud, all of this Dreamforce hype, right? But I saw an interview not so far ago, like just a couple of days ago, I think yesterday, where Mark Benioff said that they won't hire any more engineers in the next year. And of course, he added it as if it's, the AI is so efficient right now that like it's crazy. Wow, we don't even need any more developers, right? We are like, we can grow our technical solutions by just being more productive as a developer. And me as a developer, I hear this and I'm super concerned because I know that for me personally, AI is not at this point. Maybe in the future it's going to be different, but at this point, it's really not that big of a deal. It's really it AI cannot solve any complex technical problems right now. And when you're coming into this more senior levels of software engineering, of development, you will see that AI, okay, it's good for maybe substituting typing, for giving you ideas, for rephrasing, for something like this, very simple, but it absolutely, totally fails when you need to do something more complex. And now when Mark Benioff says that, wow, well, he's not gonna hire any more developers, well, hello, how you gonna innovate? And on top of that, what you can see is that not AI, Salesforce as a platform haven't been innovating for like years when it comes to the core product. I understand that you cannot probably do like a lot of innovation there, but I can tell you the story. So when 5 years ago I joined Salesforce ecosystem, so it was 2019, the COVID just started. We were first to the wearing masks and all of this, and my boss was actually skeptical about COVID. I was like, what the hell? How can you be skeptical about this? But anyway, so I joined this new Salesforce consultancy. I had no idea about Salesforce. I was a developer before Java and React and Vue.js. And I had no idea Salesforce. What the hell is that? So I started learning a lot, and I started going to the Trailhead as everyone suggests. And when I first started like actually working in the Salesforce itself, like on the side, the first thing that I saw is that it's incredibly slow. And then I came to my manager, to my mentor, and I asked, why is Salesforce so slow? Like, I feel like if it's such a great product, such a billion dollar corporation, at least they could work out how to make it a bit faster. Like for example, Notion that I'm using here now for my notes, right? It's super fast, right? It's super quick. You can like open everything in I don't know, milliseconds. But in Salesforce, especially as your org grows, it becomes kind of very slow, right? And what has changed here in the 5 years? Nothing. Well, Salesforce even haven't migrated fully from classic interface, which is crazy. It's been I don't know how many years. I didn't even start working in classic. I immediately joined, and LWC was there. Lightning was there, everything was there, right, already. So it's older than my Salesforce career, and they still haven't migrated everything from classic, which is crazy for $1 billion corporation like this. They're so huge. They should have resources. It's not. I refuse to believe that they don't have enough resources. It's just the problem of the management. It's the problem of priorities. They just don't see it as important. And it is important. It is important for users. Okay, so this is one thing. And another thing is that developer experience. Me as a developer, coming from different ecosystem, I know what it feels when you have a really good developer experience. And let me tell you this. I never had in any other ecosystem where I like touched, I never had such a bad developer experience as in Salesforce. Maybe in like embedded systems that we had um in the uni in the cell in the this that's the industry that is ancient, that is like from the 50s, right? There of course you have to write like assembly code, C code. There it is a little bit clunky, a lot of things, right? But if you compare an average software engineer, the developer, the experience of working and how easy and how good it is to work with the tools for an average developer outside of Salesforce is significantly higher than for people, for Salesforce developers inside of Salesforce. Because what does Salesforce have? VS Code. VS Code and their extension for the VS Code. But imagine this. It's not even the best IDE for Salesforce development. There's a better one, Illuminated Cloud. That is the plugin that was developed basically by one person somewhere sitting in US. He developed a better IDE experience than Salesforce, the mega huge corporation. I'm telling you all of this not to basically go and say, "Ay, Salesforce, you're very bad." Salesforce free to do whatever it wants. But what it shows is that there's a certain priorities. They definitely don't set as a priority a developer experience. They definitely don't have as priority the user experience or innovation of the core platform. They don't have those priorities, and that is not good in my opinion. And I don't think that this is something that's gonna allow them to maintain the whole ecosystem in as good as it was for the last couple of years. So I don't think it's gonna be the case, and I think that that's just those the mispriority, the way they think about what they need to be doing is, I think, is very very misleading. I think mm, it's very, it goes in the wrong direction, and I think eventually it's gonna lead to the fall or to the downfall, to the decline of the whole market, right? It's gonna lead to the more competition. It's gonna lead to um, less good of an experience of you working with the Salesforce, um, because right now Salesforce is years behind any other uh, developer framework out there. If we take Apex, Apex is not years behind, it's like 30 years or 20 years behind Java. Like literally, it is. If you take LWC and compare it to, for example, the new frameworks as we have in React development, like Next.js, for example, it's it's 10 years behind. And how are they gonna catch up? Well, they probably won't, right? Because they don't feel the need to. So what can you actually do about this, right? So I want to talk about what you can do about this, and then what I think is not going to work, or what I think is the wrong approach, how you can mitigate the risks of Salesforce, and how you can win in 2025, doesn't matter what. Um, the first thing that is my theory and that I've been working on all the time is that I think that the whole career of anyone is not many skills together, but more like couple of fundamental skills plus um, many more skills. So what I mean by this is that probably you're aware of a thing which is called T-shaped professional, right? So it means that you're going somewhere deep into one topic, and then you have like a broad knowledge of other topics. I find this thing is not exactly working. So I really disagree with this. I never had this T-shaped thing in my life, and I don't think that I ever even try to do this. What I think works is more like M-shaped person, whatever, however you want to name it. Basically, what it means is that you take on three different areas or three different skills that together form an incredible professional that everyone wants. Example. So, example. Someone is a really great developer. Well, nice. Maybe the cap for this person is at around, I don't know, 500,000 of a salary. Like, if you're a really good developer, well, maybe in Bay Area you get like 1 million of of a salary, but like 500,000, I would say that's it's probably a cap. And like if we speak about Europe, well, probably 100K, that's your cap around this. And if we speak about the rest of the world, I have no idea. I'm in Europe, sorry guys. So I only know about US and Europe. Um, so this is your cap, right? And to get to this cap, you need still a lot of time and still a lot of work. But let's speak about someone else. Let's speak about a developer who is really great at coding, not the best, not the 1 out of 1,000,000 engineers, but like really really great. But also, this engineer is really good at sales, and this engineer is really good at management or working with people. We can call it communication, right? When I'm just describing this person, where do you think this person gonna be? Probably it's gonna be some kind of CTO, right? CTOs are great technically, they're great at communication, and they're great at communicating. They're great on selling people ideas, selling people software, selling people different things. So they're good at those three things, right? It doesn't have to be those three things, right? You can have your own three things, right? Something that works best for you. Um, but the point is that this person has significantly more chances in the career, right? Now the problem is, of course, that it takes more time to master the three skills. But what you actually get when you're focusing on different skills is that you get the synergy between those skills, right? Developer who can just write code is okay, valuable, but if this developer cannot communicate properly, well, this developer is not that useful. And if this developer doesn't speak English, which was the case for me at some point, then this developer is not really, it's not really, it's not really that important. So, so, so my point is that you need to have multiple different skills that combined together, they serve one purpose. And what I think would be the wrong part here is trying to get into the hype skills. Hype skills, Agentforce, AI, and all of this. Because see what I named here. I named sales, communication. Maybe for me personally, it's writing. I am a big fan of writing. I think it's one of the key skills that I have and that makes my whole career. Because if you think about this, writing is everywhere. You're writing all the time on your laptop. You're writing emails. You're writing on LinkedIn. You're writing emails. Writing, even YouTube scripts is also writing, right? So writing is a very fundamental skill, and just by mastering writing is one thing. But if I master writing and coding, which I did, that's a totally different thing, which allowed me to build business, right? And to hire people and to have a maybe more fulfilling career without meetings and like shape the career as I want, right? So this is significantly more valuable than if I were just doing coding or just Salesforce. So I think that what I'm personally focusing on, and a lot of people should be focusing on, is trying to find what are those fundamental couple of skills that you can focus on in 2025 that are independent of Salesforce. Because remember, if Salesforce goes down or the competition in the market goes high, if you still have those fundamental skills, well, you can just learn a little bit the wrapper around. You can learn a little bit HubSpot, for example. If you're a really good developer, well, maybe the HubSpot is the CRM number one in 10 years. Who knows? And you can go and become HubSpot developer, right? So you can switch easily. If Salesforce goes down, well, there's a lot of different things that you can do as a developer, right? You can launch your startups. You can work with the startups. You can develop websites. You can whatever. You can automate flying drones or factories, whatever. So there's a lot of things. But if you don't have any of those fundamental skills, if your only skill is platform specific Salesforce, well, then it's going to be, of course, hard, right? It's going to be hard if Salesforce goes down. It's going to be hard if the Salesforce competition increases. So personally, what I see for most people, the three skills that are very important is sales. That's everywhere. And sales, I don't mean you need to go and try to sell something, because sales is everywhere. Sales is you trying to sell to your manager on the job why he needs to increase the salary. That's sales, right? So sales, communication. Communication is incredibly important no matter where you work. And communication is actually a thing that you can learn. It's a skill that you can learn. You can watch YouTube videos. It's a skill that has a lot of components, because communication, it's verbal communication. It's communication like I do right now with the camera, for example. Um, or it's also another type of communication, which is written communication, right? So many different types of communication, and they all take different way. But that's a skill that's going to help you a lot on your job, no matter what kind of job you have, right? And another skill that I think this is one of the key skills for a lot of people is coding. Because coding, you might not realize it, but pretty much everything is coding. Flows, coding. Process builders, retired, but it was coding, right? Workflows, everything is pretty much coding. When you're a developer, when you're a coder, when you know how to code, when you know how to program, then you can do those things without breaking much of a sweat. When I went into the Salesforce, and I didn't know anything about Salesforce at all, but I could pretty much from the day to do process builders. Well, because there's nothing like incredible there in process builders, but I also could do flows, because flows, this is basically just a visual programming language. A loop is a loop in Apex, in JavaScript, and in the flow. It's just a different syntax, just a different way of doing the thing, but underlying logic behind the coding is the same. It's not different. So if you learn coding, you can even switch and being developer in another field, which you can't do if you spend the last 10 years just doing Salesforce and doing different profiles. If you try to switch somewhere else, well, you have to learn everything from scratch, right? But if you're a developer, no, you don't, right? You can just go and yeah, you need to learn a little bit, but you're gonna have a way easier time to switch somewhere else. And see, I'm mentioning here just 3 skills, right? But it can be also different skills for you. The most important that I don't think that AI, for example, is a skill. It is not a skill. It is like a field. It is a topic. It is something that is there. It's a tool, right? But it's not the fundamental skill. Okay, so you shouldn't be thinking about AI in these terms. Um, Machine learning or math, that's a skill. That's a different thing, right? So you see, it's fundamentally way harder. Well, because the payout of learning skills, not tools, it's gonna be way bigger than learning tools. Because tools, they're gonna change. I can bet that OpenAI, it exists now, but chances are it won't exist in 20 years. Microsoft, Salesforce, they exist now, but in 50 years, they're probably not gonna exist, right? The same happens with all the companies. It's normal because the tools, they're changing, but the skills, once you learn the skill, it stays with you forever, for life. If you learn how to code, well, you will be able to code your whole life. So what I think people do wrong in this, when they look at 2025 and they see, okay, this is going to be a year of AI, right? So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna go and learn a lot of different AIs. AI certifications, AI topics, whatever. Or even worse, Agent Force. I'm gonna go and learn Agent Force. It's fine. If it's your strategy, it's fine. But I don't see this as a good strategy long term. Because yes, maybe in the short term you will be able to learn something new that people gonna value. But the thing is that the easier it is something to learn, the less people value it. Why coding is valued, so why are developers getting paid so much? Well, because it's kind of hard to learn Salesforce development, right? Not everyone can do that. So learning those tools, I think it's the wrong approach. Instead, again, choose the fundamental skills that you want to be really great at, and like go into those fundamental skills, not Agent Force AI or whatever is the data cloud, the current hype of Salesforce. So this is my opinion. This is what I've been doing all the time. This is what allowed me to have a very rapid career as a Salesforce developer, and then go and actually start my business and grow my business, because I've been focusing on fundamental skills, right? I've been focusing on how can I write, and now I have 26,000 subscribers on LinkedIn. Why? Because I can write, because I learned how to write. Okay, so the same goes for you. If you're gonna learn how to write, you can use the skill for for writing whatever blogs and grow your personal brand. You can you can do it for creating more content on LinkedIn and getting better salary, whatever. Like the fundamental skills, they matter a lot. But if you learn Agent Force, well, okay, you're gonna be able to use it somehow, yes. But is anyone gonna pay much more for you to just be able and go and do sales Agent Force? Yeah, well, maybe, but it's not a long-term strategy, you know. Like yes, right now, but then Salesforce is gonna come up with the Agent Force 25.0, and it's gonna be totally different. The same, or it's gonna happen the same as with the process builders, right? There were people who were super skilled at process builders. Well, what can you do with the skill now? Not much, right? So the same goes for flows. Flows, they change how they look like all the time, right? They don't change fundamentally because again it's a there's a coding logic behind it, so they don't change fundamentally. But you see what I mean? Like the tools, they're gonna change, but you need to focus if you if you wanna win in 2025. You wanna focus on the skills that are independent of tools that are changing, and this is coding. This is not Salesforce. This is coding. Okay. So what I see a lot of people do is that they go for this AI free certifications or for associate certifications, which is fine. I don't have anything like if someone wants to have more certifications, if that's part of your strategy to have more certifications than less, well, that's fine, right? But what I'm really against is that people think that certifications gonna make the crazy return of their investment on time, on money. No, it won't, because no one cares how many certifications you have if you can do the stuff. So if you can actually deliver really great solutions, you don't need that many certifications. The best developers I know, and the best developers I worked with, they had zero certifications. Which doesn't mean it's not a correlation, right? It's not like if you have zero certification, you're the best developer. No. But the point is that if you're really great at something, you don't need any certifications. I have only 2 certifications, and I'm growing my business, and I was a pretty successful Salesforce developer. Because no one cares. If you can show that you can actually do the stuff on the job as a Salesforce developer to the potential employer, well, that's all they need. You just need to be able to communicate it properly. You just need to be able to show it and to sell yourself properly, right? So you don't need to have crazy certifications like 10 certifications or something, especially as a developer. Well, you can be fine with like 5 certifications, right? The quality of those certifications, they matter more than the quantity. But this is one strategy. Of course, you can have another strategy of going and taking just a lot of certifications and being like 20x certified, 30x certified. It's also fine. It's also fine. It's another approach. It's not my approach, because what I want to do in career, I want to have as much free time as I can. I don't want to sit and grind every year for like 30 certifications. Like it doesn't make sense. I saw there was like a woman, I think, Anna, and she did, I don't remember how many, like 20 certifications, 12 certifications a year. Like I don't want to do that. Honestly, I'm not here in the career to grind certifications or grind Apex or grind something. I want to go and watch Netflix. I want to have time with my family. I want to see my sister that is visiting me right now. I want to go with her to the restaurant. I don't want to sit and sacrifice my whole life for certifications. That's why I'm choosing to focus on the very fundamental skills like coding, right? And I'm getting better at them. I'm getting better at them on purpose. And then those skills, this is basically what shows. This is what sells. You don't need additional confirmations if you're really good at what you do, right? So this is my thought about this. I know it's controversial, but it worked for me. It worked for me. Okay, so I cannot tell about other people. For you, it might be different, but this is what I recommend for people. But this is what I recommend for my students. For students who are getting jobs as Salesforce developers, like I have a student who recently got an offer at the company that he works. So he worked as a business analyst, and then he got a job, and now he works as a developer. And I had another student who worked as a senior Salesforce admin, and now she works as a developer. Like you don't need a lot of certifications for that. A couple will be enough. Yeah, so platform developer 1, platform developer 2, JavaScript 1, you're good to go as a developer. Okay. All this AI stuff, it's too easy to take. Everyone can do that. Like literally, almost everyone can do that. The associate certs, the AI certs, just I don't know. I'm against them. I'm against them. You don't need them. That's a waste of time. Go have a burger instead. And another thing that you should focus on in 2025 is you need to think about, okay, what can be your step in your career that's going to allow you to double your income? Yes, double, right? So if you're working right now, let's say you are earning 100K, right? So let's say you're a senior admin. Let's take like this. You're earning 10K per month, right? You're a Salesforce admin. What would it take to go from 10K to 20K? Doesn't mean you're gonna do it, right? But what would it take? Because suddenly what it forces you to think about is to think about, okay, what are the fundamental skills that I would need to double my salary? And you see, when you really think about this, it's not about taking more certifications, right? It's probably about doing something bold. It's probably about doing some crazy step, changing the job, um, maybe getting an insane amount of certifications. Well, it can be as well, but I don't really think it's gonna double your salary. Um, for a lot of people, it's learning coding, right? Because if you've been working in Salesforce for like 7 years as a Salesforce admin, well, if you learn how to code, well, you can definitely double your salary because now you're insanely skilled at Salesforce administration, and you're also good at coding. And as I said before, the merge of those two skills, the synergy of those two skills, this is what makes a really, really, really good career and really high-paying professionals. So what is the step that you can take in 2025 to double your salary, right? And if the step is coding, then I have something for you because we are launching a mini cohort 4 weeks in 2025. The start is going to be first or second week of 2025, January. And it's going to bring you from zero to writing your code. Only 4 weeks, very short, but you're going to learn how to write the code, right? You're not going to become an insane developer, but you're going to make the first steps. We're going to do it on the Learn Apex platform. So if that's something for you, I'm going to do it live. So it's going to be me going to be teaching you. We're going to take very slow, only 4 topics, okay? Not insane amount of topics because screw this. We're going to take our time. So we're going to take our time and I'm going to bring you to the level where you're writing your code, right? If you want more info about this, the link is down below. And thank you everyone and see you in the next one.